On a quiet morning in 1911, American explorer Hiram Bingham climbed through the misty peaks of the Andes Mountains in Peru. What he discovered that day would baffle archaeologists for over a century. Perched impossibly high on a mountain ridge, he found massive stone blocks fitted together with such precision that not even a knife blade could slip between them. But here's what makes your mind spin. These weren't just any stones. Some weighed over 50 tons, and somehow, ancient people had transported them up nearly vertical mountain faces without wheels, without pulleys, without any technology we know of from that time period. That discovery was Machu Picchu, and it's just the beginning of our story today. You see, scattered across our planet are structures so mysterious, so impossible by our understanding of history, that they've left scientists scratching their heads for decades. These aren't just old buildings or forgotten temples. These are architectural impossibilities that challenge everything we thought we knew about ancient civilizations. What I'm about to show you will make you question whether we've been telling ourselves the right story about human history. We're talking about 7 structures that defy explanation, built with techniques that seem to come from another world entirely. Some involve moving stones that modern cranes struggle to lift. Others display mathematical precision that rivals our best computer calculations today. And the most unsettling part, the people who built them left no written records explaining how they did it. But before we dive into these mind-bending mysteries, let me tell you something that's going to change how you look at ancient history forever. For years, mainstream archaeology has painted a picture of primitive civilizations slowly evolving their building techniques over thousands of years. Yet the structures we're about to explore suggest something completely different. They hint at advanced knowledge that appeared suddenly, flourished briefly, and then vanished without a trace. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some researchers believe these monuments couldn't have been built by the civilizations we credit them to. You'll see evidence that challenges our timeline of human development, and you'll discover why certain governments and institutions might prefer to keep these mysteries unsolved. Our first impossible structure takes us to a windswept plateau in Bolivia, 14,000 feet above sea level. Here stands Puma Punku, a site so precisely engineered that it makes modern architects weep with envy. When you first lay eyes on these ruins, your brain struggles to process what you're seeing. Scattered across the ground are stone blocks cut with such mathematical perfection that they look like they came from a high-tech factory, not an ancient civilization. The precision here isn't just impressive, it's impossible by conventional historical standards. We're talking about cuts accurate to within 1/1000th of an inch. The surfaces are so smooth and flat that when you place 2 blocks together, they create a suction seal. Try explaining that with copper tools and stone hammers, which is supposedly all these ancient builders had access to. But the real mystery deepens when you examine the complex interlocking joints. These aren't simple rectangular blocks. Each stone features intricate channels, grooves, and connecting points that fit dimensional puzzle. The level together like pieces of a 3 of planning required for this type of construction suggests the builders had detailed blueprints and sophisticated measuring tools. Yet according to mainstream history, the Tiwanaku people who lived here around 500 AD had neither writing nor advanced mathematics. Dr. Arthur Poznansky, who spent decades studying this site, made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the archaeological community. Using astronomical alignments, he calculated that Puma Punku was actually built around 15,000 BC, thousands of years before conventional history says his dating remains civilization even existed. While controversial, the precision of the stonework speaks for itself. What makes this even more perplexing is the sheer weight involved. Some blocks weigh over 100 tons, yet they were somehow transported from quarries several miles away across rough terrain. The largest stone block weighs an estimated 440 tons. To put that in perspective, That's heavier than most modern construction cranes can lift. How did ancient people move these massive stones without wheels, without beasts of burden capable of such loads, and without modern machinery? The mystery deepens when you realize that many of these perfectly cut blocks show no tool marks whatsoever. It's as if they were shaped by some unknown method that left no trace of how the work was done. Some researchers have suggested that the stones were somehow softened or molded rather than cut. But mainstream science has no explanation for how such a process could have been achieved. Our second impossible structure transports us to the desert of Egypt, where the Great Pyramid of Giza stands as humanity's most enduring mystery. For over 4,000 years, this monument has defied every attempt to explain its construction. Sure, you've heard the official story, that it was built as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu using ramps, ropes, and an army of workers. But when you dig into the actual evidence, that explanation crumbles faster than ancient papyrus. Let's start with the numbers that should make any engineer's jaw drop. The Great Pyramid contains approximately 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing between 2 and 15 tons. The precision of its construction is so remarkable that the base is level to within just 2.1 centimeters. The four sides of the base align with the cardinal directions to within 3/60ths of a degree. This isn't just impressive, it's impossibly accurate for a civilization that supposedly used basic tools and had no understanding of true north. But here's where things get really strange. The internal construction reveals knowledge that the ancient Egyptians supposedly didn't possess. The king's chamber contains granite blocks weighing up to 70 tons, positioned with millimeter precision inside the pyramid. How were these massive stones maneuvered through the narrow internal passages? How were they lifted to such heights and positioned so perfectly? The mathematical relationships embedded in the pyramid's design suggest knowledge of pi and the golden ratio, mathematical constants that weren't officially discovered until much later in human history. The pyramid's height multiplied by 43,200 equals the polar radius of Earth. Its perimeter multiplied by the same number equals the Earth's circumference at the equator. Coincidence? Or evidence of sophisticated knowledge we're not supposed to acknowledge? Recent discoveries using cosmic ray imaging have revealed hidden chambers within the pyramid, suggesting our understanding of its internal structure remains incomplete. Each new discovery raises more questions than answers about who really built this monument and why. Recent experiments by independent researchers have yielded even more disturbing results. When they attempted to recreate the pyramid's construction using the methods described by mainstream archaeology, they couldn't even move a single 2-ton block up a ramp using hundreds of workers. Yet somehow, ancient builders supposedly moved millions of these blocks with primitive tools and completed the entire structure in just 20 years. The mathematics don't add up, and the more you examine the evidence, the more obvious it becomes that we're missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. Our third impossible structure takes us to the remote Easter Island in the Pacific Ocean, where nearly 900 massive stone heads called moai stare eternally toward the horizon. For centuries, these statues captivated explorers who couldn't understand how a small, isolated population created such monumental works. But the real mystery isn't just how they carved these giants, it's how they moved them across the island. Each moai weighs between 10 and 80 tons, carved from volcanic rock at a quarry called Rano Raraku. The conventional explanation suggests the islanders somehow rolled or dragged these massive statues across miles of rough terrain to their final positions. But recent experiments have shown this method would have required hundreds of people per statue and would have taken months to move each one just a few miles. Here's what makes your skin crawl, though. When archaeologists began excavating around the moai, they discovered that what everyone thought were just heads were actually full-body statues buried up to their necks. These underground bodies contain intricate carvings and symbols that suggest a level of sophistication far beyond what we've attributed to the island's inhabitants. Some of the buried portions show evidence of construction techniques that seem impossibly advanced for the time period. The island's oral traditions speak of the statues walking to their positions under their own power. For years, archaeologists dismissed this as primitive mythology, but then something remarkable happened. A team of researchers discovered that the statues could actually be walked upright using a coordinated rocking motion. This revelation forced everyone to reconsider what other supposedly impossible ancient accounts might actually be accurate descriptions of lost technologies. But Easter Island holds an even deeper mystery. Genetic studies of the native population reveal DNA markers that suggest contact with South American peoples thousands of years ago, long before any known ocean-crossing technology existed. How did these isolated islanders maintain genetic connections across thousands of miles of open ocean? The implications challenge everything we think we know about ancient navigation and global connectivity. Our fourth impossible structure brings us to England's countryside, where Stonehenge has puzzled visitors for thousands of years. Everyone knows the iconic image of massive stone trilithons arranged in a perfect circle, but few understand the true complexity of what they're looking at. This isn't just a random arrangement of rocks. It's a sophisticated astronomical computer that tracks celestial movements with incredible precision. The blue stones that form part of Stonehenge's inner circle came from quarries in Wales, over 150 miles away. Each stone weighs several tons, and somehow ancient builders transported them across rivers, hills, and rough terrain without wheels or modern machinery. But transportation is just the beginning of the mystery. The site's astronomical alignments are so precise that modern computers are needed to fully appreciate their complexity. Stonehenge can predict eclipses, track the movements of the moon through its 18.6-year cycle, and mark the solstices and equinoxes with perfect accuracy. The level of mathematical and astronomical knowledge required to create such alignments suggests the builders possess scientific understanding that rivals our modern capabilities. Recent ground-penetrating radar surveys have revealed that Stonehenge sits atop a vast network of underground structures and monuments stretching for miles in every direction. This discovery suggests the site was part of a much larger complex that we're only beginning to understand. Each new revelation makes the conventional explanation that this was built by primitive farmers using basic tools seem increasingly absurd. What's particularly unsettling is how the construction techniques seem to have appeared fully formed, with no evidence of gradual development or experimentation. It's as if the builders possessed complete knowledge of advanced engineering principles from the very beginning. Where did this knowledge come from, and why did it disappear so completely? Our fifth impossible structure takes us to the ancient city of Balbeck in Lebanon, where the Roman Temple of Jupiter sits atop foundation stones so massive they defy comprehension. These aren't just big rocks. We're talking about the largest worked stones ever discovered in human history. The foundation contains blocks weighing over 800 tons each, precisely cut and fitted together with joints so tight that nothing can penetrate between them. But here's what should make you lose sleep at night. In the nearby quarry lies an even larger stone called the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, weighing an estimated 1,000 tons. This block was cut, shaped, and prepared for transport, but never moved to the temple site. Modern cranes struggle to lift loads this heavy, yet ancient builders somehow planned to move this monolithic giant, using techniques that remain completely unknown. The precision of the cutting work defies explanation. These massive blocks feature perfectly straight edges, right angles accurate to within fractions of degrees, and surfaces so smooth they appear polished. No tool marks are visible anywhere on the stones, leaving no clue about the methods used to shape them. It's as if they were formed rather than carved, using some process that left no archaeological trace. So there we have it, 7 structures that shatter everything we thought we knew about ancient civilizations. From the impossible precision of Puma Punku to the mathematical perfection of the Great Pyramid, From the walking statues of Easter Island to the astronomical computer that is Stonehenge, from the massive foundation stones of Balbeck to mysteries we've only begun to scratch the surface of, each one challenges the comfortable narrative we've been told about human history. These aren't just impressive ancient buildings. They're evidence of knowledge and capabilities that appeared suddenly, achieved perfection immediately, and then vanished without explanation. The precision, the mathematical understanding, the engineering prowess, it all points to something far more sophisticated than primitive civilizations slowly learning to stack stones. The question isn't whether these structures are impossible by conventional historical standards. They clearly are. The question is what we're going to do with that information. Are we going to keep pretending that copper tools and stone hammers created mathematical perfection that rivals modern computers? Or are we going to admit that maybe, just maybe, we've been telling ourselves the wrong story about who we really are and where we came from? The evidence is right there, carved in stone, defying explanation for thousands of years. These monuments aren't going anywhere, but our understanding of them and ourselves, that's something we can change. The truth is waiting. We just have to be brave enough to look.